Hey guys, Showerpred here, and I've got a Feral 7.3 PvP guide for you here. And I'm going to teach you how to do with talents, how to set them up, the multiple combinations you can do, and what to do in certain situations. I'm pretty good at Feral myself. I'm sure some of you have seen me in BGs. I do high damage most of the time, and I'm going to share this info with you to help you out. So, let's get right into it. So, for the first three choices here, you definitely want to choose Lunar Inspiration because it's an additional dot. It only costs 30 energy. That's a nice combo point generator, so it's the best out of these three by far. For 30, you want to choose between Wild Charge or Displacer Beast. It's just depending on whether you're playing 3s, 2s, or BGs, right? If you're playing with 2s, I would go Displacer Beast because it'll allow you to disengage combat and heal quickly in the corner, which is quite key sometimes. And in BGs, it'll allow you to teleport in any directions as well. But Wild Charge also is decent for BGs because it's half the time of Displacer Beast, cooldown wise, so you can jump 2 times more and engage your target. It's also better in 3s in my opinion because it'll allow you to be more aggressive overall. As a Feral, that's really important. And for my affinities choice here, all three of these are viable, and I'll explain why. The balance ability is really good because it'll increase your range by 5 yards on all abilities. So it'll make you more aggressive overall, harder to escape. It'll make you leap further as well. So I like to use this personally the best because it's pretty much aggro, and I like being aggro. And if you think you're going to be trained on really heavenly, and you think it should be the enemy's religion is trained on you, it's definitely good to go Guardian Affinity because you're going to migrate 6% damage at all times, and in bear form that does a lot more than you think. So this is really good for melee cleavers or something that's going to focus you in general. Resto Affinity is good in 2s because you can, flee the scene and heal, and it gives you more healing spells so you can do it quicker, and it'll give you Healing Touch, which costs little mana every time you use it, so you can heal a lot more than you would without it. So it's pretty key for 2s there. So you decide what you're going to like best. All three are viable. It's all depending on the player, For 60, Lightly Bash strictly. There's no other choice here. It's a nice big stun, and the other two are soft CCs, so I prefer Lightly Bash. For 75, it's between Incarn and Solar Forest, although Incarn is the better choice because it's a 30-second ass whipping, pretty much, and you can stealth once in combat, which is really nice because you could dodge an ability and then stun the opponent after and continue beating on them. It's a really strong skill. It's also very good for 3s where the enemies have used their defensive cooldowns, and you can store this ability so when they use their defensives, you use it afterwards and you guarantee yourself a kill. Soul of the Forest is decent for spreading, bleeds and stuff like that. It's also nice energy management and a nice little 5% increase on the board. So you pick according to what you gotta think. Both work in Arena, although I prefer to go Incarn 100% of the time because it'd be controlled burst that you can do with it. In 90, it's between Sabertooth and Slash, okay? Both of them are really strong. Sabertooth is good for saving energy because it'll make your rip always refresh regardless of HP. It's a really strong talent for saving energy. It also increases the damage of your bite, which is really nice. Brutal Slash is nice too with Incarn, especially after using Incarn. You can slash 3 times. If your Incarn for whatever reason wasn't enough, the slash will almost ensure that it is enough because it can crit really high, and you can do it 3 times in a row only for 60 energy, which is quite cheap for what it is. For the 100 talent tier here, you definitely want to go Moment of Clarity or Blood Talons, okay? Moment's really strong for single target DPS because it buffs every ability you get by Omen of Clarity. Well, every ability that you can use, not what you get. You can use an Omen of Clarity by 20%, and it also gives you more procs, so it gives you more free energy. Also an energy saver, so these two go together, kind of. So it's really strong. It's also a nice, passive energy saving skill. Blood Talons is also really strong because you can select which ability you want to buff by 20%, like Rip, Ferocious Bite. See, if you combine these two together, Sabertooth and Blood Talons is a 40% stronger bite, so it's a really solid KO. And you can pretty much finish your opponent off at the right moment with this skill. It's also nice with Brutal Slash too, because it'll increase the damage of that, but it's the same thing with Moment of Clarity. So don't just use it for Brutal Slash, use it to buff your bleeds and your barrel bites. Um, Other than that, you know, the only time you're really going to pick Blood Challenge over Moment is when you want to specifically use it to KO an opponent. Like, Ferocious Bite, bam, you hit really hard with Ferocious Bite now because it's 40% instead of the original 20. However, someone did a test on these two, and the reality is the difference between Blood Challenge and Moment is very little. So I like going Moment of Clarity just because it's a nice, energy saving utility, and it's easier to use overall. However, I do use Blood Challenge sometimes, so I go back and forth between the two. For honor talents here, you definitely want to go Gladiator's Medallion for the first one. Okay, there's no doubt in my mind that an on-command trinket's the best. For the second tier, Hardiness is really good with the Priest because it'll make the Priest shields stronger when you're above 80% health. So it's really good. That's pretty much the only time you'll use it with the Disc Priest in 2s. Reinforced Armor is really good against casters because it'll increase your health by 10%, and it'll make you, overall a little more tanky and harder to kill for casters. And Sparring with melee obviously is the best because it'll reduce a lot of damage 20% of the time. It'll reduce your damage by 50%. So it's good RNG, keeps you alive. Sometimes it can save your life. For the third tier here, these are also interchangeable. If you think your teammate's going to be a really easy target, right, you got to go Protector of the Grove. If you think you're going to be an easy target, by a Caster Cleave, you got to go Tooth and Claw. If you want to counter melee, then you go Thorns, right? So you pick accordingly to the situation once again. And the fourth tier here, Savage Momentum is my favorite because there's always a caster in the game, and as a feral, your job is to kick. So when you kick somebody, you get energy back. It's a lot of damage, so you definitely want to keep that around. The other two are somewhat viable too. This is good against slows, but I wouldn't really recommend it. Although Freedom of the Herd is somewhat decent if you think your teammate's going to have trouble with roots, but I honestly doubt it. Because as a feral, right, your comps are mainly like Fire Mage, Hunter, and DK, right? Only the DK will really have trouble with roots, but the other two won't. So you generally want to go Savage Momentum. For the fifth tier here, you definitely want to go King of the Jungle because the damage buff is too nice to ignore. Especially when you got multiple rips on multiple guys, it'll stack up to 3 times, which means a 12% bonus max, which is really nice. For the final tree here, Ferocious Wound is my favorite because it reduces their health by 15% every time you bite them, which is really strong. However, if you want to spread AoE and you want to get more combo points, Fresh Wound isn't bad either because it'll guarantee a crit every time, which means 2 combo points instead of 1. So that's also nice, but in general I go Ferocious Wound, and that's about it. But here, I'm going to show you examples of what I do, against certain comps, for example. So if I'm going against, let's say a melee comp, but I think it's really going to train on me, I'm going to go Guardian here, I'm going to go Sparring, and it should look exactly like this. Thorns, so when they train on me in bear form, it'll be hard to kill me without like a drawback to doing so, because they'll lose 5% of their health each time they attack me. So it'll be really nice. And let's say I'm going against Caster Cleave, but I think they're going to go on me again, so I keep the Guardian Affinity, and I'll switch to Reinforced Armor instead, and I'll go Tooth and Claw to make my bear form extra tanky, so it'll be really hard to kill me, and it'll be a solid fight overall, because casters in general will get countered by your feral. If you're playing aggro and you think you're going to destroy the opponent, you go Balance Affinity, and you go, again, according to your opponents, you choose between Sparring and Reinforced Armor, Thorns, or Tooth and Claw, unless you really think your opponent's going to be in danger. I mean, not your opponent, your teammate, sorry, is going to be in danger. You go Protector of the Grove, because you can heal him with crits every time. It's somewhat decent. And that's pretty much it. I hope this guide helps you pick your talents and, play better in PvP. And soon I'll be releasing more content, and I hope this helps you guys. Peace.